Valentine's Day. You're watching the Convergence Report with Mike Thomas right here at the Downtown Windsor's Business Accelerator at 720 Olette on this cold and snowy, freezing cold weekend. And all I can say was that on Thursday I was in Cancun. But, okay, so I'm back. Today on the Convergence Report, we're going to take a look at, for Windsor anyways, and I guess it could be this kind of global phenomenon called the 50 Shades of Grey baby boom that might actually happen. We'll take a quick look at that one. And of course, a Canadian, not even a Canadian journalist, I just couldn't wait for this. I tell you, it just perfect falls into place. Rob Ford is back too, and he's hitting the news. He don't care. We're talking about how he could have won mayor if he had not pulled his name. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. And of course, along with the 50 Shades of Grey and Valentine's Day and everything else, one of the contributing factors they believe is the downtime, the 14-week downtime at Chrysler, or Fiat Chrysler Canada. The Windsor Assembly Plant going to be down for 14 weeks. We'll take a look at that. And again, depending upon how much time I have, or watching the clock, or getting the cut sign from my producer Alex, we want to talk about the General Motors selling of their shares, and also the investment that they've committed to make in Ontario, and along with, it's going to be great. Fish for free this weekend if you can make the storm. So with that, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a great Convergence Report. I'm glad to be back. Facebook karma, that's really what the show is all about. I saw that, and when I saw it, I kind of pull it, whether or not it's social media, whether or not it's internet, whether or not it is pulling it off Twitter, Facebook, all the social media aspects. That's kind of how I build my news show, and giving credit to where credit's due, and then I kind of grab what I want to grab. So right off the bat, we're going to take a look. Is there going to be a baby boom? That seems to be the one that's hitting kind of the big Valentine's Day news. It's a combination of a lot of good things on whether or not it is the actual, everybody will be in this weekend trapped again from the icy cold weather that is bringing this across Ontario, along with the snowy blizzard conditions. Like how I kind of rule our weather, my weather report is, if it is freezing cold, it doesn't snow, and if it warms up a tad, whether it's lake effect, whether it just drops from the sky, it begins to snow. We had another 3 inches this morning, and as soon as it chills out again, it is freezing. So they're saying that is part of the reason why people will all be snuggly and cuddly and cozy. If they maybe try to venture out, they're probably going to take up the opening of Friday and on Saturday of the 50 Shades of Grey. They're saying that will be contributory to the big baby boom that's going to happen in November. And of course, I like my little signs. Are you curious? I got the snow people. They're kind of busy. I got the kid, booze, food, TV, and sex. That's what this weekend's all about, because it is Valentine's Day weekend. So Valentine's Day sex, is it the best sex? We're going to find that out. So that is what they expect to happen. And in the Windsor area, okay, one of the largest employers that we have in Windsor, the Windsor Assembly Plant from Fiat Chrysler Canada, has effective Friday has begun their big 14-week shutdown. So normally a lot of the workforce for Chryslers or Fiat Chryslers actually works on the Saturday. It's usually banging through 3 shifts. So they're saying that will be a contributing factor for the Windsor area. And we're all, this article was, I pulled this one actually. You pull it from the internet all over, but I got it from Brian Cross, reporter for the Windsor Star. That's how that was his big blog for the day. And expecting that November 1st to the 30th of this coming 2015 will be the latest, greatest baby boom that we've had probably since the blackout, gee whiz, of 2000. When was that again? 2005, 4? I'm not even sure what year it was, but they're expecting another big one to be coming because of all those contributing factors, especially with the 50 Shades of Grey kind of breaking out. Although the reviews on the 50 Shades of Grey, they're saying that it's kind of gone back and forth. As we're looking over here, kind of gone back and forth. I think it was rated a half a star, to tell you the truth. So I guess it depends on what you're feeling. They tried really hard to keep the flavor of the book in the movie, and then at the same time, were they going to turn off, turn off too many of the ratings people? Like there was actually somebody, gee whiz, from Ontario federal MP asking for a boycott this weekend of the film, again because of the content that's in the film. But you also have, again, the women should be flocking to it. Are they going to bring their men? Will the men go because it's an opportunity? Okay, I guess we'll find out what the numbers show us, what we hit on Monday, or as they come booming out on Friday and Saturday is what they're trying to pick. So again, this is what they're expecting as going forward for this great big Valentine's Day weekend, that it should be the best one ever. Okay. Of course, it wouldn't be Valentine's Day without a little Rob Ford Valentine, as I got to segue over into to Rob Ford. And of course, this would have been a good one. This is from Scotty Naughty, and it says, "I'd take a crack at you." I kind of like that. Perfect Valentine's card, especially since Robbo is out there breaking into the news again. He has so many things to say, so many things to start hitting the news with. The first thing, really, I guess, well, there a couple things happened. He was kind of got kicked out of council, I guess, without Brother Doug there to make sure that he runs blocker for him, that Rob's on his own. He can start spouting off all he wants, but at the end of the day, if he's going to start breaking the normal council rules, get out, okay? Get yourself together and then come back. And he was complaining about some delegation going to the Expo site or 2015 in Milan, and I guess, well, maybe he's not on the list, or maybe he's not mayor anymore, so he thinks it's a bad expenditure. It's always great to sit on the other side of the chair and start complaining about all the things that you were doing prior to that. But the biggest, and he did say it right off the bat, that he was going to, if my health lets me do it, if my health lets me take care of it, or able to run, that he said right out of the blocks, the minute the election was over, that he was going to run again, and now he's starting it. Now the machine, he needs the machine to begin right away, or it just needs to be in the news he needs to continue to be in the news, that he's saying he would have beat Tory if his name wasn't taken off the ballot, and if he wasn't sick. And I don't normally do this, because somebody to be a cancer survivor is so, especially in the Windsor Essex area, is so very, very important. We run into it quite a bit. But it just that, you know what, can you drum it up anymore of how you had cancer? You continue to have cancer. You don't know the results. Even after all this time, as the tumor shrunk, and everything you do, you almost are using your cancer as a kind of like a little bit of cover, so that, you need people to feel sorry for you, need people to have sympathy for you when you're still acting like an ass. Oop, I don't know if I'll get a bleep on that or not. But that's basically what Rob Ford's been doing. He said, I would have beat Tory, woulda, coulda, shoulda. You didn't run, or I should tell you, too scared to run, too scared to lose. And timing of bad health didn't stop you running from councillor, but it definitely stopped you from running for mayor. So let's remember that, voters. When 4 years come around, don't let Robble Bobble fool you again. That is a number one. And of course, what I like to say, I have to read some of this stuff here, is now he's auctioning off some of his memorabilia. He's got a Rob, what is it? He's got a Rob, just go to Rob Ford at, oh geez, what is it? Toronto Rob Ford on eBay. That's what he's saying. Go to eBay. He's not releasing them all at once. It's going to be little by little. He's got a great big picture of Toronto area. They're saying it's not in mint condition. It's starting at $50. Again, he's no longer Mayor Rob Ford on Twitter. He's Councillor Rob Ford. And I got a whole bunch of collectibles from over the years, and I've decided to put them to good use. Okay, that was the first one. I'll be putting select items for sale on eBay, with 10% of the proceeds going to liposarcoma research and care facilities. Again, very, very, very noble of him to do that. But really and truly, of his of the money, it's only going to be about 10% of the proceeds going to charity. So I guess we have to fill the coffers up to get prepared for the great big mayor bid 4 years from now. So I guess that's what we need to do. So again, Rob's back in the news. It's going to be a good 2015 for me and for most reporters. And even, probably because he's going to have more latitude to travel, he should easily be able to hit all the major talk shows, and maybe not Letterman this time, or maybe Jimmy Kimmel. Who else? Fallon was mimicking him the other day. So I guess he's going to be back on the rock star trail, making sure he drills what he's going to do going forward. So again, that was a happy Valentine's Day from our little buddy Robbo Bobble. Okay, and the big story, I guess, for Windsor, because of kind of how it transpired. I did a show roughly about a year ago, talking about Marchione and the government when he backed totally away from spending any money. It didn't, when did we get tied up? And that was prior to the election, where Hudak got trashed because of the statements that he was making at the time. Because it seems like conservatives do not want to make any attempt to to support manufacturing, whether or not it's at the federal level, even with our own Jeff Watson, who used to be an auto worker, and of course with Tim Hudak, not seeing the importance of that, and just letting the, and they basically, they go to any other country, whether it's Chrysler's, whether it's General Motors, whether it's Ford's, and even whether it's Honda or Toyota, can go to any country and get whatever they want. I mean, Canada still, after all this time, thinks they're completely different and don't have to, when they want to tie them up or like hamstring them so badly that they can't operate, that they just rather not even bother. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about the General Motors thing coming a little bit later in the show. But really and truly, with they finally made a commitment, and it really wasn't a long-term commitment. It was we need to make the changeover. We're getting we're that new next generation of family van or family vehicle or minivan or whatever it's going to be, and here we are with everybody welcoming the changeover. I tried to give you like an alternative type of thought process because I read some of the articles, and all they want to do, really and truly, from the auto worker perspective, they think that they're all traveling to Florida during their downtime or going on trips, and that everybody, man, is just like so. It's so easy to be laid off. They're not like normal people. They don't have mortgages, I guess. They don't have mortgages or car loans, or people forgot they were working 6 days a week. And yes, they were making a good wage, but you know what? You really have to change your budget and be prepared for this. And some people are prepared better than others. But a lot of the news agencies, I'm going to tell you right now, in the Windsor-Essex area, really kind of pump it up that this is some kind of big bonus party to be laid off for 14 weeks or so, and really and truly not even knowing when you're going to return to work. 14 weeks is kind of what they're saying. You still have to do the regular unemployment. There's no free ride to be laid off. You have a whole different perspective. I tried to get somebody on with Chrysler's today, or Fiat Chrysler, to talk about the issue, to talk about what was going on, because again, there's some people that would be set up, and some will be doing very well, and be able to be fairly comfortable during this downtime. But a lot of people, like I said, definitely changes your budget up quite a bit. Not everybody, quite honestly. You have to give up 1 week's pay to begin with. Your SUB, or supplemental unemployment benefits, will kind of pop into the second week, depending upon whether or not you qualify. And there are some of the junior people, some of the people recently hired, that fall under the newer aspects of the contract, and really they're not entitled to that supplemental unemployment benefit. So definitely they're not looking forward to this layoff as much as everybody keeps on talking about, or how we drum up that it's so great to be an auto worker and it's so great to be a laid off auto worker. Well, you need to walk a mile in their shoes to find out what it's like to be a laid off auto worker. And I'm going to challenge any viewers that see this, whether or not it's on YouTube, on whether or not, if you are one of the Fiat Chrysler workers, please email me at writermiker at gmail.com, or tweet me at writermiker, or hit me, hit with some comments on the show, hit some comments on Facebook, okay, or even on the Knockstrom 1 on YouTube. I'm giving you very many different ways that if you want to, give me your input on what you think that's being laid off. If it's great, if it works for you, fantastic. But I really want to hear the stories from the people that are affected and the ones that have laid off for roughly 3 months. And again, 3 months, you don't know when you're going back. There seems to be some challenges going forward as when you do these types of large types of changeovers, especially in a big auto plant. That technology is also 10 or 15 years newer. The expectation is a whole hunk of brand new robots and extra or more robots will be coming in to do some of the harder jobs, the welding jobs, the painting jobs, the jobs that really weren't good for people's health to begin with. But there's a little bit of concern for the junior people on whether or not that there won't be a little bit of a job loss upon the full ramp up, the full production of getting the plant up and running again. So again, that's something that's going to come down the road, okay, as whether or not that there's going to be a transition in the workforce, especially with new technology. It just advances so quickly. If you watch the regular news, if you watch everything that is on YouTube, coming out of Japan or any of the techie places, man, they're making dogs walk and hop and jump. They're doing all kinds of things nowadays, so don't think they can't build a car with as many robots and less people as possible. So again, that's a challenge that people are going to face. So again, when you're reading, and the Windsor Star always kind of like Windsor Star, our local rag, I'll call it, whether they have to always drum up the story. They always find that person, oh, I'm so happy to be laid off. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to pay my house, and I'm going to do that. And they seem to, I don't know, they don't want to talk to the person that, going to say, hey, I laid off is going to hurt. I'm a single income family. I do have some challenges. I got to pay for my house. If you looked at, I think it's the Windsor Family Credit Union, and maybe I know the Windsor Family Credit Union for sure has already put an offer out to people saying you need to come in and talk to us about payments and things like that. Then you need to come make that appointment. Come talk to us. We'll be there to assist you. Because I remember back in the day, some of the banks, if you missed a payment, guess what? It's called a default right away. And some of the bigger player banks like Toronto Dominion, CIBC, tell me whether or not you're out there assisting these people that have locked, got some bank accounts with you, but also have some lines of credit. Okay, the real bane of society. If you have lines of credit and are maxed out, then at the end of the day, how long are you going to let them go with the help from their payments if they kind of run into a struggle about halfway through this layoff? Because guess what? You don't really transition until a little bit later on as far as a layoff goes. Nobody ever plans for it. I tell you, they all think they plan for it, but again, some people do and some people don't. So we're going to find out again. So challenge you, if you want to get a hold of me, get a hold of me. I'd love to have some people on the show and tell me about your experience leading up to the layoff, and we can touch base throughout the layoff or the down, the retooling, okay, the changeover, and see how you're doing throughout. So that is not my kind of spin, hoping that people do understand that it's not all fun and games when you're laid off. Again, the biggest thing that people just forget, you're laid off, you're unemployed like anybody else, and you have to follow those rules. There's no special rules for you because you work at Fiat Chrysler or Ford's or any other manufacturing facility in the city. So yes, everybody, they're not special, they're all the same. And so that, anyways, let me know. Come back to me with that one if you can. And I like this one, okay, because it is family day weekend, and I like it. And maybe because I'm not an ice fisherman, I don't know, but I was kind of reading the report and saying you can fish without your license. Okay, this weekend, February 14th to the 16th, Family Day weekend, at the Anglers Hunter Family Ice Fishing Day on February 14th, was today, 10 p.m. I guess almost over, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Rodeo Park. Dryden Winter Festival is also having some of that, so maybe they're used to it. Okay, from Bill Morrow, Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry, fishing without having to buy a license, an affordable way to try a new, finally fun activity until you get hooked. But look at my pictures. If you just look outside, I don't know how many people are rushing out, unless you're like a dedicated ice angler. Is that what they call you? Okay, sitting around the hole or in those little cabins. I don't see that first-time fisher person getting ready to hit the lakes and chop it. Like, you need an auger, number one. so I gotta laugh. I will give them some credence at the end. Some credence being that there will be another one, July 4th to the 12th. Okay, so July 4th to the 12th, they'll have another one. You can fish without a license. And again, there's no doubt that fishing is fun. That fishing is something that everybody should really kind of look at, like nice winter activity, I guess, if you like it, and of course a summer activity. So if it kind of does get you hooked by taking the opportunity for the free family fishing, I think, that, hey, good for you. I'm just looking at the weather. If you look at the pictures, if you put my slide up again, Alex, it's just, there we go. You got cars. The 402 was locked down. When I was coming back for Toronto on Tuesday, 402 was shut down. I didn't really know till the next day that there was an accident about 1 p.m. and it was done. It was actually the car was just locked down tight because of a vicious accident from the lake effect snow that took over the 402 just like it did a number of years ago. So again, the weather can be a challenge for anybody going outside. It was definitely a drive into the show today, blowing off the river, kind of drifting and everything all over. Drifting all over Riverside Drive, one of our main access road. I could have moved into Wyandotte, but again, it wasn't that bad, but definitely blowy cold. There was no doubt about it. So everybody enjoy your family. Fish for free this Family Day weekend. Okay, and don't forget, you're off on Monday. Most people are off on Monday anyways. So it does look like I'm going to have a little bit of time, so I was going to kind of talk about this, and again, more so about the manufacturing side of it. Great things for. Oh, got 2 minutes left? 22. Well, 22, absolutely. Oh, got 2 minutes left, so okay, I'm just going to hit this, and then I'll bring back the story probably a little bit later on. And what it is, it's very, very simply, is that it was part and parcel of three things. And again, I'll do a longer version of the story later, but right off the bat, it was we had the president of General Motors of Canada right off the bat saying Canada is not competitive, we've got to get out, blah, blah, blah. You know, panic and fear in Oshawa because they're the ones that most with the contract negotiations coming up in 2016. Okay, so everybody's on pins and needles and out in Oshawa. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Boom. Okay, Ontario sells their stock that they had in General Motors. They made about $1.1 billion. Very, very happy to do that. And right after that, I don't know, same week, same day, 24 hours later, or after GM cashed a check, I'm not even sure. Okay, but really like to know some of the backdoor dealings there. $650 million going, or $560 million going to CAMI, General Motors CAMI plant in Ingersoll. So uncompetitive. So what it is the unionized or the old Oshawa plant not competitive, but CAMI is, which is another General Motors plant. So now we're really going to have to take a hard look, hard watch on what's going to happen with GM Oshawa going through the next year and a half. And again, painstakingly difficult for the people that work there that've seen the Camaros being moved out. So there's some challenges there. I'll make this a more of a bigger story the next time I talk. But it's funny how we sell the shares, and Ontario sells the shares, and investments made on the other side. Very interesting because General Motors wanted their stock back, and it says we'll give it back to you if you invest in CAMI, but they didn't seem to take care of Oshawa. That's a big story. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to tell you right now, thank you for watching the Convergence Report. I am Mike Thomas, right out of here at the 720 OLED at Downtown Windsor Business Accelerator. And I can say I'm glad to be back, but I'm trying to talk my producer into doing kind of an off-site location in Cancun, but we couldn't do it, so we're back in the snow. Anyways, see you next week.